Well, there is a certain appeal to city living, one that's helping Baltimore City's population grow. But when it comes to moving to Charm City, what are the neighborhoods experiencing some of the biggest booms right now, and who specifically is attracted to life here in Baltimore City? One who knows these answers is Realtor Chi Yan. Good to see you, man.
Thank you so much.
I've seen your videos. It seems like the market is doing decent in Baltimore right now, yeah?
Yes, definitely. It's right now, there are a lot of listings that's available in Baltimore City. I just checked this morning, between 200 and 400,000. There are 755 active listings right now.
Wow.
So if you're a home buyer, there are definitely a lot of homes available for you to choose from.
Sure.
Since the beginning of the year, there's almost 1,200 units sold.
Yeah.
And currently there are about 500 pending listings.
Okay, so give me some comparisons here. I mean, compared to 2 or 3 years ago, is this an uptick? Is this more than you've seen lately, or about the same?
It's about the same. There are more active listings right now.
Okay.
Because of the interest rate, it's taking a little bit longer to sell.
Okay.
But because Baltimore is known for affordability of housing, unlike DC, that's why people are buying in Baltimore.
We brought you on because the story before you was the mayor. He wants to activate parts of downtown and bring more people to live there. And even down by the JFX, we've seen condos and apartments go up. So someone is moving in. Who's moving to the city now?
A lot of single people, couples. So nationally, there are more single woman home buyers than single men buyers. Because they have the jobs and income to buy houses, and they're not waiting. So a lot of single women are buying, and then you have couples and partners buying in Baltimore City, and they want to grow a base in the city, and then possibly from that point on, then buy their next home.
The American dream was always to have a house and a yard and a picket fence and all this other stuff. Is that still what people are looking for? Or some of these high-rise apartments kind of thing have become more popular now?
People want to experience the high-rise possibly first, because all these high-rise buildings have all the amenities. The gym, the spas and around the neighborhood, the eatery, the food.
Sure.
So once they know the neighborhood and live there for a couple of years and where they're working and learn about the city, then they might think about buying in Baltimore City.
One of the beautiful things you've mentioned a couple times about the city are the neighborhoods. I think each neighborhood, which I love, has its own personality, has their own base of food and grocery stores and that kind of thing. What's booming right now when you think of some of the neighborhoods in Baltimore?
I think the accessibility of parks. I personally, my wife and I bought in Patterson Park back in 2007. We had 3 kids there, and the park itself is the center point of all the neighborhoods around the park. And then obviously there are different neighborhoods that has different, Hampton and all the other neighborhoods, Federal Hill, obviously neighborhoods that people move into. But people like the arts and culture and the jobs that's available in Baltimore City.
What I like about the work that you do, when I was a kid, you went into at least I watched my parents, you went into a newspaper and you circled the ones you want to go see. You're online, you do Facebook, you do Instagram, you probably do Twitter and TikTok too. How did that become where you decided this is how I'm going to move a house?
To sell?
Yeah, to sell, yeah.
Well, it's all about attracting home buyers.
Okay.
Putting on the MLS, that's a bare minimum. So me as a realtor, I want to showcase the property. I want to showcase the neighborhood. I want to showcase Baltimore.
Sure.
So that's using social media is it's here.
Yeah.
Everyone is using it. Millennials, Gen Z, and beyond, my kids in the future, they're on their phone. Unfortunately, sometimes too much, but they're watching videos and learning about the city before they really buy into the city.
Are there certain amenities that people now are treasured, that I must have this if I'm buying a house here?
It's funny you say that. Thank you for asking the question. The main thing is that since the pandemic, people never thought about having a home office.
Oh, yes.
Like never. Before pandemic, it was not even a thought of. But now, people, when they go look at homes, okay, where am I going to put my computer? Where am I going to have my home office?
I didn't think of that.
Yeah, so that's the one thing that people have to think about. Is this house big enough for me and my family? Where is a designated space? Do I have to set up my home office in the dining room? Or is there a specific space that people have in their extra bedroom or basement?
I didn't think about that, and I bet that was years ago, that was the garage. Everyone wanted off-street parking, but you're right. If you're going to work 3 days a week from home, you want it to be a comfortable spot.
Correct. I have clients that work remotely from home full-time,
Okay.
and the spare bedroom have their own computer set up, so it's very important.
About a minute left. If I'm looking for a house right now, what are some priorities? Give me some 3 bullet points I need to keep in mind as I'm shopping Baltimore.
Yes, so I always tell my clients this, unless money is no object to you, there are 3 main factors when buying a house. The 3 factors are location, condition, and price point. Usually the price point will dictate to the location and condition of the property, so you can't, look into buying something that's brand new rehab, everything is moved in within a certain price point or in a certain neighborhood. So learn about Baltimore. Live Baltimore, it's a very great nonprofit organization where they will tell you everything about Baltimore in each neighborhood. There are over 200 neighborhoods in Baltimore. So you want to really learn about each neighborhood and your comfortability of schools and parks and things like that before you want to buy in Baltimore.